Welcome bitches, one and all, to my reaction to Season 3, Episode 5 of Love Victor, Lucas and Diego. So last time we had a lot of development for our characters. We had Lake repair her relationship with her mother, which was really nice to see. We had Pilar stand up for herself against Armando and how he has behaved towards her boyfriends in the past, which again, really nice to see. And we finally ended off with Victor realizing that he doesn't just want a hookup. That's not his kind of deal. He wants a meaningful relationship. So I'm glad that he got to that point, and I'm glad that he has had this experience so that he now knows what he wants, because that's one of the most important things in life, just knowing what you want. So I'm excited to see where the season goes from here. So yes, with that said, very excited to get back into it and see where the story goes. So without further ado, let's go.
Well, that means from a legal perspective, you didn't get drunk and drive my car into a Wendy's.
That's good for Benji that he was able to get that off, though.
This is a good thing, Benj.
Yeah.
Now, we never have to think about that embarrassing day ever again, right?
I get what his dad's trying to do with this and all that. He's trying to, you know, like wipe the slate clean. It's done. We know it happened. We moved on. We don't want to keep bringing this bad memory up. But I don't know, the way that interaction went, it won't feel good for Benji, because like his dad's had to go out of the way to get that done. He's mentioned it as being an embarrassing day. It's like, it's going to probably bring up a lot of bad feelings for Benji, but he's getting better. He's going through rehab. He's trying his hardest to get better, and that is the most important thing out of all of this. So proud of you, Benji. Oh my God, the braces.
So I was just updating my iPad, and it synced to the family cloud, and obviously there were pictures from your laptop on there.
Uh-oh.
Pictures of shirtless men, pictures of pantless men, pictures
Okay.
I
think I know what happened.
Oh, here we go.
I lent my laptop to Lucy, and she is just completely boy crazy.
Oh, thank God.
What? You're believing that?
For a second there, I thought, I'm not that there's anything wrong with being gay. I just never thought my son would be, you know?
Well, that's not the response anyone wants. That's great.
You're gonna die. The funniest thing just happened.
Oh, good. I need a good story.
Oh, Benji, my boy. What a shit interaction to have. That would make you feel so awful about yourself. The sheer amount of relief that his dad just felt. Oh, Benji.
How's your mom? How are things at work?
Stop stalling and ask me what you want to ask me already.
You want my advice?
No.
The best way to get over someone is to get under somebody else.
Well, we've tried that.
Victor, what is this profile? No picture,
yeah,
no
what
name,
the... Victor. If you have no picture on a profile, no one's gonna fucking swipe on you, bruv, because everyone's gonna be a bit concerned as to who the fuck you are. Like, who wants to date someone who they don't know what they look like? Do you know what I mean? But then, back to the whole Benji thing, so I didn't really talk about it. I understand where both sides are coming from, because obviously it's going to feel absolutely shit on Victor's side that Benji won't even talk to him. But from Benji's side of things, it's like, I get what he's saying, because it'll bring up a lot of emotions, and it'll bring up a lot of things that Benji still hasn't dealt with, to the point where it might not turn him to the bottle, not make him drink, but you get what I mean. It will bring up certain emotions that if he's trying his hardest to heal, he doesn't even need to think about those things right now. But then you could also argue that not having Victor around at this time is not allowing him to heal from certain things that he needs to heal from before he gets better, if you get what I mean. But yeah, it's very complicated and very personal to Benji, so I'm just letting him do whatever he thinks is best right now.
Hold on, let me find a torso pic that looks like you.
Do you want one of mine? My phone is like 99% shirtless selfies.
That's not something that you should be proud of, Andrew.
Can you let go of my hand?
Ah, look at them.
Mi familia.
Pilar, inside.
Oh no, what's happened? Oh yeah, I forgot about the fucking birth control.
You go home. You are not welcome here anymore.
Well, that didn't go well.
We found these in your room.
You said you weren't having sex.
I know how it looks, but we're not. I promise. Felix doesn't even know I have that.
How stupid do you think we are?
If you just calm down and listen to me.
No, I am done listening to you.
Oh, for God's sake.
You guys are being so crazy.
Laptop, iPad.
I do feel bad for Pilar, because I don't think they're having sex. We haven't got the inkling that they are having sex. But I don't quite understand why she has the birth control without that, because like I said last time, I don't know a lot about birth control. I am a gay man. It's not something I think of. But I just, I get, it frustrates me that because of the relationship that they've had in the past, her parents won't even listen to her. Like, they immediately think that she's lying to them, which I get because she's done it in the past, but I think if they're going to try and get to this point of being open and honest with each other, it's going to take time and it requires effort on both sides. So if Pilar says, can you just listen to me for a second? Fucking listen. If you don't like the answer, if you don't believe the answer, then that's on you. But at least listen to her rational reasoning and maybe you'll understand, because I think she has a point about this, but I don't know. We'll see. I want to know the reason myself.
Love your headless torso. Do you have a face to go with it?
What is that voice?
No sunrises for me. I'm not a morning person.
Look at that, our first thing in common.
I hate hearing flirty texts. It's disgusting. Actually disgusting.
Mom and Dad found birth control in my room.
What? Are you and Felix?
No, I just wanted to be ready if we did. But Mom and Dad don't believe me, and Dad went batshit and took my phone. So I really need that walkie-talkie to talk to Felix.
Just press the button on the side if you want to talk.
I'll figure it out, Victor. It's a toy for a 7-year-old.
He's helping you, love. Don't be like that. But yeah, that's nice.
What are you doing right now? Want to meet at Kooky Judy's for drag queen bingo?
Oh, hell yeah. But also, it literally just clicked in my head that this episode is called Lucas and Diego. I forgot that Diego is fucking Victor. Is it Benji?
Victor?
Oh my god, it's Benji.
Hey, what are you doing here? I'm just, meeting someone.
You're meeting each other, bro. You're meeting each other. Of course. Oh my god, of course you match with each other, for fuck's sake.
Same. Oh, yeah.
Are they going to reveal that they used different names? Penny drops?
Lucas? Diego.
That's so fucking funny, bro.
I just really needed a distraction tonight.
Oh, my boy.
Do you want to talk about it? I was kind of hoping to forget about my problems tonight.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Victor and Benji aren't supposed to be hanging out. I don't see why Lucas and Diego can't. Just for tonight. Yeah, just for tonight.
It's really sad to see how much they obviously care about each other and then they're having to not hang out. Like, the questions that Victor was asking, and you could tell from Benji's side as well that he was a bit hurt that he couldn't talk to Victor, you know, but...
My parents found birth control in my room.
What? Okay, okay, why do you have birth control if we're not even... Do I not know how sex works? I was kind of, yeah, I was definitely having high hopes for that. I mean, when you're ready, of course. Did you explain that to your parents?
They don't even want to hear it, bro.
I tried to, but they think I'm lying.
Yeah, I get that.
What?
Uh-oh.
I understand why they don't believe you. We lied to them for weeks about us.
Yeah. This is what I mean about both sides understanding each other. Her parents have to understand that if they want to get to a point, they don't necessarily have to just believe her straight away, but at least hear her out and at least try and think rationally and talk to Felix and all that. But then Pilar has to understand that it's going to take time on their side as well to accept the truth from her because she's been lying.
The only thing I know is that they took me in when I had nowhere else to go. Okay, they're like a second family to me. I can't mess this up more than we already have. Are you there?
Oh God, Felix. Oh, my darling.
Over.
Oh.
Cookie Judy's! Y'all had a good time?
Is that fucking Eureka?
That's what I tell all my boyfriends, honey, B24.
Oh my Christ, bro.
Are you sure you're okay with all this, with everyone drinking? You mean, can I go to a restaurant? Yeah. I'm sorry,
Victor, he's trying.
Am I being awkward? Yeah. I feel like I'm being really awkward.
You are, but it's understandable.
Okay, Lucas. What did you major in? Music. My ex-boyfriend was a musician. Sounds dreamy. Yes, very dreamy. He was my first boyfriend, my first love.
I hate having them talk about this, but then us knowing that they can't be together right now. It's like, fuck's sake.
Bingo!
Oh, get your pretty old tush on up here. I got a prize for you.
Hopefully it's not a drink.
Here's your prize.
Yep, thought so.
Oh, I'm actually sober.
Well, good for you. Even better for me.
Well done, Benji. Proud of you, boy.
I can't believe you won. Can we get out of here.
Well done for saying no, though. Proud of you.
My dad pulled some strings, finally got my car accident taken off my record, which I guess is a good thing.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear his inner thoughts on this.
It's just bringing up a lot of memories.
Yeah, understandable.
We never even talked about rehab. It was intense. I learned that I have a lot of anxiety, and drinking is how I cope.
Mm.
You have anxiety? You're Benji. Nothing ever gets you.
Oh, Victor.
Tricked ya.
Yep. You often find that the people with like the worst mental health and the people who are struggling the most are often the best at hiding it because like I would say that for the majority of people, there are many reasons it can be, but for the majority of people, it comes from embarrassment. And for some reason, we as human beings think it's embarrassing to admit to our problems, admit to things we're struggling with, especially with mental health, because you can't see it. People only know about it if you talk about it. So if you don't talk about it, it's not a problem. But like, that doesn't make sense, but that's how you convince yourself. And yeah, it's just really fucking sad to see. But once again, so glad that Benji has gone through this so that he can cope with it, you know, so that he can get past this. Like, fucking hell, am I proud of this boy.
I just can't shake this feeling that no matter what I do, I'm gonna end up disappointing someone. Well, you've never disappointed me. You're just saying that. But the thing is, like, I'm not trying to mess with your recovery. But maybe us hanging out together could be good for you. Yeah, I don't know what's good for me anymore.
Looking at it from an outside perspective, I truly do not know, because it can swing one of both ways. It can either swing in the way of, if things give him anxiety and he thinks that disappointing people is the thing that gives him the most anxiety, then obviously staying away from as many people that you love the most will negate that because you'll have less people to disappoint. But if you've got someone on your side who knows that that is a trigger for you, who knows that you always think that you're disappointing people, then Victor can help you counteract that. Victor can tell you each and every fucking day, did something I do today make you think that I was disappointed in you? Tell me. Yes, okay. Well, I can tell you that that's wrong because... Do you get what I mean? Victor can be there as the rational reasoning to say to him, no, you're wrong. That's not the truth. This is how I felt in that moment. And then you can just completely negate all of the intrusive thoughts. You completely negate everything that Benji was thinking and just move on from that. So yeah, those are the two ways it can go. I am of the opinion that from an outside perspective and known personal experience, I'm of the opinion that Victor should be hanging out with Benji because of that reason that I just said. He can negate the intrusive thoughts, he can be there for Benji, he can try and help Benji see the truth in situations rather than just thinking what his head is telling him. And I think that he could be a really good person to have by his side because yes, he's got his parents, but as we've seen in the past with how they reacted when they thought that Benji was gay, specifically his dad when he found the pictures, they're not the most understanding of people. Even if they're trying their best, they're not the most understanding of people. And Victor is. So I think that he could be really positive in Benji's life.
I'm just listening to the experts and my parents, and they're telling me to keep my life as manageable and simple as possible right now.
Yeah.
We are a lot of things, Victor. And I'm not sure simple is one of them.
True. I just think that every relationship is unique, and obviously these experts are going to tell everyone the same thing in that sense, so I don't know.
Good night, Victor.
Good night, Benji. Just watching their relationship from afar, I feel like it would be a positive effect on Benji's life. Because Victor understands things now. He understands so many more things about Benji than he did before.
What are you doing? If your parents found out you were here, you could be in serious trouble.
Yeah, Pilar, be careful, my darling.
What they don't know won't hurt them?
I feel like Felix is going to say no to hanging out with you right now because I feel like he feels like he's betraying them.
If we're going to be punished for it, we might as well do it.
Oh, Pilar. I feel like Felix is going to say no.
Just not sure about this.
Well, maybe I can make you a little more sure.
Oh, Pilar, she's just going for it, bro.
Wait, Pilar, just stop.
What is your problem?
Hey, there's no problem. I just didn't picture this being our first time.
Yeah, that as well.
I don't think we should be having sex to spite your parents.
Yeah.
That's not what this is.
Are you sure?
I feel you pulling away, and one minute we're taking a step back, the next minute we'll be breaking up.
Oh, my darling.
Seemed like you were excited about having sex one day, so I thought if we did, I just didn't want to lose you.
Oh, my darling.
Pilar, can we please just talk about this?
I get both sides of things. Obviously, Felix is thinking rationally and Pilar is thinking emotionally, which isn't... It's colliding right now, but I'm sure they'll get to a good place.
What are we gonna do?
You need to do better. He needs to feel your soul.
I don't understand where we went wrong.
We didn't go wrong.
You talking about being gay?
Who's this kid? He's a terrible student. He's got a drinking problem. He's not the son I pictured.
What an awful father. That was actually disgusting to hear. Not just because Benji heard it, but because he had... One, that he had those thoughts in the first place of where did we go wrong? Who's this kid? He's not the son I pictured. Not just to have those thoughts, but to secondly share them with your wife openly. Like, I'd be fucking ashamed if I had those thoughts about my child. Yes, Benji at that time was not perfect by any means, you know. Obviously, he was having a drinking problem and he wasn't accepting himself very well. But I think a lot of that came from you, my mate. Like, I'm sorry, but if you're not treating your son well, like I said earlier on about him saying the whole, like, being really relieved that Benji wasn't gay. People don't realize that when you say that and it's actually true, you may forget that. That may have been just one tiny moment in Benji's dad's day and he's moved on. But for Benji, that was a key point in time. He will remember that till the day he dies because of how ashamed he felt in that moment. And it's just so fucking aggravating when parents look at their kids who have actual problems like drinking and they don't understand that for the most of the time it comes from a place of pain. It comes from a place of trying to cover up your emotions because you're just struggling so hard to deal with them. And a lot of it has come from his dad, as we've seen. So the fact that his dad's not trying to be loving and understanding is fucking sad. I feel really bad for Benji in that regard.
Mr. Campbell?
Oh no.
Hey, what's going on?
Hi, Victor. I'm sorry to come by unannounced, but I was hoping you and I could talk.
Oh god, here we go.
I saw you and Benji saying goodnight outside of our house, and I'd really prefer if you wouldn't see him anymore. The problems in your relationship caused him to relapse. I know you don't mean to, but whenever you're around, you create chaos.
Right. A few things to talk about there. One, that is a fucked up thing to say to anyone, and I hope you regret those words. Secondly, yes, they did have a struggling time in their relationship, and I think it would have been a hard time for anyone, let alone someone who was obviously dealing with a drinking problem. And that was my issue that I had with Benji and Victor last season, was the sheer amount of fighting and the sheer amount of not understanding each other and lying to each other, keeping secrets, just not sharing the truth. But I think that they've both come a long way in this time, and I think they've both got to a good place. What angers me here is the dad's lack of understanding of what drove Benji to drink in the first place. Him and Victor weren't together when Benji developed this drinking problem. Him and Victor weren't together when Benji went and drove that car into the Wendy's and almost died. The reason that all started, mate, was your lack of understanding of your son. And I don't even know if you're there yet. Like, he was nice to Benji earlier on in regards to saying, no, I didn't bring this up for you to apologize again about the crash. He was nice in that regard, and it was like, oh, that's quite sweet. But from what we've seen in the past and how he's behaved right now, there seems to be a lack of awareness and a lack of taking the blame for the effect that you had on Benji's life. And I don't think that the dad understands that, but I don't know. My issue here is, I agree with the sentiment that him and Benji fighting a lot would have turned Benji to have a relapse and all of that shit. But one, Victor didn't know that. He didn't know that this problem was still ongoing. And then two, the way that the dad is expressing it, it's like Victor is this chaotic element in everyone's lives. It's like Victor is causing pain in everyone's life. Like, bro, work on your wording before you talk to anyone like that, let alone a kid.
You're not good for him, Victor. And if you really cared about Benji, you'd stay away.
I disagree, but I feel really bad for Victor that you had to hear all that.
You okay?
Aww.
Yep.
You've both got really great relationships going for you.
I know you're his best friend, so you'll probably take a side.
You're my sister. I'll always have your back, no matter what.
Hell yeah.
What's up with you?
I realize I'm bad for Benji.
I don't know if I agree.
And I'll probably never be with him.
I'm sorry to keep talking about this. It's frustrating me when things come up and you see how sad Victor is. I don't think that he's necessarily bad for Benji. Last season, definitely he was bad for Benji, but it wasn't that he was bad for Benji. There was just a lack of understanding and a lack of truth sharing. Like, they were not telling each other the truth. Benji was still having an ongoing drinking problem and being sober, and Victor had no idea about it. And then when Victor tried to talk to friends about it, Benji blew up, so Victor started to hide that. And then at the end of the day, the lying is what caused their relationship to come fucked up, and that's what caused the fighting, which the fighting then eventually made Benji go and relapse. But it's not that Victor went and made Benji relapse. They had fights that caused it. They are in a better place now, both solo, like both being single, they seem to be in a better place mentally, but then also together, they seem to share a lot more truths with each other. They seem to be a lot more open with each other now. So I genuinely think that this could work, but here's what it is. I liked that episode. Obviously it was fucking sad and annoying, but Love Victor season 3 is actually doing a really good job so far. I'm really proud of it. So yes, that was episode 5 of Love Victor season 3. We were mainly focused on 2 couples this episode, with Felix and Pilar and Victor and Benji. On the side of Felix and Pilar, I completely understand where Pilar's coming from, in the sense that Felix is putting his feelings for the Salazars and the family itself above his feelings for Pilar, which is a hard one to comment on. It's a hard one to say if that's right or wrong, because they did take him in. He has a level of respect for them. They have a level of respect for him. He does not want to lose that. He doesn't want to lose his standing in the family. But if Pilar is truly going to be the love of his life, if Pilar is truly going to be someone that he is going to dedicate himself to, then you kind of have to put that first, Felix, in my opinion. But I understand where Felix is coming from, and I think I'm more so on Felix's side, because he's thinking rationally, and if they go behind their back and if they have sex in spite of her parents, and if they secretly keep seeing each other, it's not going to end well. It really isn't. They've asked them to not see each other anymore. You have to respect that on some level and just hope that at some point they will understand. If this goes on for a while, then I would completely understand Felix and Pilar sneaking around and still being together, because obviously we know they're not having sex. They know they're not having sex. Pilar was just trying to be ready for the moment, which I think is understandable. I can understand why that would be scary for her parents, because they don't even want her considering that as an option right now. But at the end of the day, it's her body. I think, how old is she? I'm going to look it up quick because I want to get this right. Okay, interesting. I literally can't find any information about how old Pilar is, but I would assume she's at least 16 years old. Therefore, she is of age to have sex. But even then, what I was trying to say was it's her body and her decisions. But at the end of the day, she lives under her parents' roof, and a lot of people are scared of their children having sex at a young age, which I think is a valid concern, as for a lot of people, it's not the best experience. But I always have this struggle where I'm very much a person who believes in personal freedom, and I've just lived my whole entire life not trying to exert any control over anyone else, letting everyone live their own lives, and I appreciate when people have their freedom. But the issue comes in when you have parents and kids, because at the end of the day, they are their guardian. They're someone who is meant to be looking after them. If this is going to be a negative experience for Pilar, they want to not have her go through that. So like, it's so fucking complicated, and without knowing Pilar's age, I can't really comment on it. But yeah, that's where I struggle, because I'm all for personal freedom, but then it gets a bit muddy when parents are involved. But I hope that they can get to a point where they're happy. I hope that we can get to a point where either Felix and Pilar split up and they are on good terms just because they realize that this isn't going to work, or her parents actually believe her for once, and they can get to a more positive point in their relationship and it not be so secretive. But yeah, anyway, talking about Victor and Benji, I've spoken a lot about it in the episode, so I'll keep this short, but I don't necessarily think that they're bad for each other. I don't think that at this point in time, Victor is bad for Benji. I would have said season 2, Victor was bad for Benji, but not that Victor was bad for Benji. I think that a relationship was bad for Benji in season 2. I think that the way that Benji was keeping his secrets and keeping things close to his chest, it wouldn't have worked out with anyone. No one would have been able to be the best boyfriend for Benji in that time, because I don't think Benji was opening himself up enough to have a good relationship. So I don't necessarily think that was Victor's fault, but getting into season 3 now, Benji's come such a long way, not only because of rehab and all of that, but just in general, he's come a long way as a person. And the fact that we even ended, didn't we end the season? No, we started the season, episode 1, with Victor being allowed to tell some friends about Benji's sobriety and all stuff like that. It's like, they've both got quite far as people, and Victor especially, because we've seen Victor up and close changing, and he's got to a point where he's a lot more understanding, a lot more open. The thing with Victor was, I think he was always understanding and open. Victor's just the kind of person that you forget that these people are young because they don't look it, because the actors are older, but he's meant to be very young, so you have to understand that he has to learn these things. He has to learn about sobriety. He has to learn about anxiety. If he hasn't experienced it himself, I'm not sure. But it's just one of those things where you have to understand that people need time to learn, but Victor's one of those people that when he learns, he will be the most supportive person. So I don't think that they have a worry in that front. The way his dad spoke to Victor was disgusting, and I hope he regrets those words in the future, but I think he needs to take some accountability himself as to the effect that he had on Benji's life, because we haven't actually seen him apologize yet. We haven't actually seen him say to Benji, I'm sorry for how I treated you. I'm sorry for how I spoke to you, because I don't think he realizes the effect that he had. But yes, anyway, with that said, that was episode 5, Love Victor. I'm going to be getting into episode 6 right now because I am a week behind on Patreon, unfortunately. But yeah, expect a double drop if you're watching this on Patreon. On YouTube, I'm going to try and be getting the first episode of Love Victor up ASAP. So we are likely going to be done with the season by the time that you are watching this episode over on Patreon. So if you want to watch the full rest of the season, be sure to go over there. But yes, with that said, thank you very much for watching. I've also left a link to my Twitch, my Discord, and my socials. So be sure to follow them if you are interested. And Jess, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.